Today on the Gearhead Gardener, I did a little road trip to Kaiser Hospital, and I think I found a couple of frontier elm trees, little saplings growing amongst the rose bushes. I plucked them out, brought them home. We're going to take a look at them. Leave me a comment if you really think that these are frontiers or how they can be. But I'm going to go ahead and root them, so if this is something you're interested in, let's get started. And today I've got a doctor's appointment, and I know over at the Kaiser Hospital by my house, there's these cool little elm trees that are growing up. Let's hope the ground has softened things up enough for me to pull out a couple of these trees. Normally they just break off and you can't get them, but I have a good feeling the ground's going to be dry enough, wet enough. All right, check it out. Just after the rains, I was over at Kaiser getting a little blood work done, and I always see these little Chinese elm trees that are just sprouting up everywhere. So since it was just rained and it was nice and wet, these came out with these. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these potted up. All right, all potted up. It gives me 3 nice little trees. This one I kind of had to do a little repair because I twisted it over too far trying to get a bend in it. And this one I haven't touched yet, but you can see how it's growing up 3 times. And this one is just wild and out of control. You can see where it's been cut off a couple of times. This one is growing under a rose bush. And you can see it's way out of control. It's got some kind of cool little movement right there. But I think that I'm gonna have to just take everything off right here. It's funny, these brand new shears don't cut these too good. It's really tough bark. And then this one has a lot of growth at the base. And check this out. Looks like it's been trying to root itself up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and snip that off right there as well. Or wait, maybe not. Maybe I'll tease that with a little bit of air layering and see what happens. No, I'd rather cut it. All right, so I got this all cut up, and you can see it gives me a lot of material to work with. I think what we're gonna do is put together a little propagation. So these are growing at the Kaiser, they're everywhere, and I see them growing also as root cuttings. And like I said before, the ground's wet, so these came up with roots and all. This is a cutting from my Chinese elm. It's quite a bit different. It still looks like an elm. I mean, I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to find out exactly what these things are. But I'm gonna bring these indoors and we are gonna get them propagated. Okay, I've moved indoors only because Rex, the big dog next door, as soon as he hears me, he just starts barking. And then if my dogs hear me, they start barking. So anyways, here are my cuttings. I've kind of sorted them out into different flavors. But you can see how we're gonna get some really nice fall colors out of this tree, which I'm not even sure what it is. So I'm gonna have to just try and figure it out. So these are my cuttings, and I have a feeling these are gonna propagate really easy. So I don't wanna cut them too small. And I think a couple of these, I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in the jar as they are for right now. And then I'm going to try these little cuttings here. And we'll put these into some bottles with a cover and we will see what they look like. Now this is what the tree looks like after I've got it all cut up. These are all the cuttings that I am going to propagate. And I don't even know what kind of tree it is. All I know, there was a tree like this in front of my house where I lived here in Southern California, and it dumped its leaves twice a year, and my pool used to get filled full of leaves, and I hated these trees. But I love all trees now. And we're going to try and grow this one and see what it's going to turn out to be. So I've cut the top off. This was actually, looked like it was trying to be a leader because these were so long, and that's actually a side branch. So I chopped that down. I might wire this a bit, but I'm going to wait for the ground to get a little firmer so I could put a wire in it. This had 4 other leads, something growing off of here. So I've cut all that off. And this is going to be what the tree is going to look like for the remainder of the fall and into winter. And we may take a look at it again after that. All right, this is going to be my setup. See, I've got a plastic container here that I'm going to have water in. Here's the bottom of a soda bottle. You can see how I've got excellent drainage from the holes I put in the bottom. And here I have a mixture of perlite and vermiculite, 50-50 blend, that I'm going to attempt to get into this container without spilling it. And I'm going to fill it up about 2/3 of the way, or whatever that is. All right. Once I put it in the water, it's going to automatically start absorbing whatever it needs, so it'll give me a chance to take a look at my cuttings. Now that my substrate has absorbed a bunch of water, I've taken a bunch of the small cuttings and just with a little tiny piece of wire, just put them together and tied them up. See, the one with the fall colors looks pretty good. So I'm going to dip those in rooting hormone. And those are going to go right in the center of this little jar. I know I should have made a hole. And then I made a lid that's going to go over the top of it, but I need to use 2 hands for this one. All right, I've cut a slit, as you can see, a V-shaped slit in the bottom of the lid of that soda jar so it fits inside this plastic cup. And as I push it down, you can see it fills in the hole. So if I feel like I need to let some fresh air in, okay, there's the slit. All right, so if I need to let some fresh air in, I lift it up and it opens it up. And if I need to close it off, I just push it down and it'll seal it. All right, so that's vacuum sealed. That is completely sealed off. I'm going to keep enough water in there to keep my soil moist, and I'll check it periodically. And I'm just going to put this underneath the workbench where I've got a few other little projects going on. Okay, it leaves me with 4 good-sized cuttings. Looking at these, I have a feeling these are going to root really easy. So I think that these 2 big fat ones, I'm just going to give them some rooting hormone and go straight into the dirt with these 2. That's what I'm going to do. It's perfect time of year for that. Then I have 2 other cuttings here. This one, you could see if I could focus in somehow, which I cannot. Well, this one's calloused over. And it looks like it was trying to grow roots because you could see it was kind of broken off right there. And this one is like a heel cutting I took. There we go. This is like a heel cutting I took right at the base. And that's got some callousing on it. So I have a feeling these are going to root really easy. So I'm just going to put these in water and watch them. Let's see if I can get another look at this one here. There we go. So I really think that these are going to root pretty well, but I'm going to take them out, let them dry. I'm going to give them some rooting hormone and let them sit for about an hour and then put them in the water. And these 2, I'm just going to put them in just like this and set them aside. All right, so everybody's potted up and labeled. These are KAISER elms. I'm calling them KAISER elms because I got them from KAISER. I think that's what they are, elms. So we've got one good sized one that's hard to see. I've chopped it all up. I'm propagating cuttings, and these also had roots. I threw a couple of these stems in here just to see what happens. And then I got the other ones that are inside the shop there. All right, so that's it. We're going to keep an eye on these. We'll come back in just a little while as soon as we see some life or death. Thanks for watching the Gearhead Gardener here on Fillet TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Come along with me on this adventure as I fix up these old cars and work on my trees in my retirement. Thanks for watching. Ciao.